Good afternoon from Cedar Point. We're here for Cedar Point's Halloween weekend. We're going to take a spin around the park, take a look at some of the fright zones and decorations here during the day. Then we'll come back tonight and film it when the scare zones are going on. So if you look at the gravestones here, they are gravestones for some of the rides that they used to have here. Mean Streak, Turnpike Cars, Pirate Ride over there. This is the Trail of the Forsaken. Bunch of games they have set up to play tonight. This is the head toss, prize winning pumpkin. I don't know if these are going to be actually games or just decorations. We'll find out later tonight. So this is Hexed. They have a daytime haunt that says it is less scary. So I think we're going to go ahead and go check it out, and then we'll compare it to tonight's. Okay, we just did the daytime Hexed haunted house, which really wasn't a haunted house. I wouldn't recommend doing it unless you have little kids. You're just going through different rooms, solving different riddles to move on to the next room. There's no scares or anything. We'll try it again tonight. Hopefully it's better than what it just was. Again, only do it if you have little kids. Okay, apparently only little kids can do this. I don't know why, because I want to be in here doing this. It's a foam party. Okay, so we just did Hexed again at night during the scares, and it was a lot better. You just continuously walk through it, completely dark. They give you a little tiny flashlight. That was a lot better than the kids one that we did earlier on. So our first scare zone of the night we did, or not scare zone, our first haunted house we did tonight was Hexed. We waited an hour and 20 minutes to get into Hexed. All right, we're heading into our first scare zone, Trail of the Forsaken. Where's all the scares at? Huh? He's getting ready. Where are they? for sake, it was pretty lame. I don't think anyone jumped out at any of us. It did just open, so maybe we'll try again later. Heading into another scare zone, the Harvest Fest of Fear. Look at the beaver. Look at the beaver. We're actually in another scare zone here. We're so busy trying to find food that we just wandered into a scare zone and didn't realize it. Oh, here it comes. See, I thought that was food. That was food, they got it closed. This one's got barbecue or something. Oh my god. This is scare zone. That was Tombstone territory. So we're on the Cutthroat Trail, like a haunted pirate trail.
You know it's good for you, you better turn around.
That's kind of cool. They did, but they're gone. You can run, but you can't hide. I'm getting a little dizzy. Oh, that's awesome. You're like scare bait when you do that. The more you're scared, the more they're going to stay with you.
Yeah. You just gotta stand still. How did they get any scarier when they just following you? I think it was more scary when they popped up.
Blood on the bayou. Should be people jumping out of there. That was good. Hope I got that. I have to check.
They were like, can you work? You got black hair? And I was like, sure. My hair was on it.
So that's the end of the day here for Halloweekends. It's 11 o'clock. There's an hour left to park time. I'm tired. My neck hurts from being whipped around on these coasters, so I'm not going to stay till close. We were able to hit 2 haunted houses today. The haunted houses go from 6 to 12 o'clock on Saturday nights, and both of them that we waited for had an hour and a half wait. So we didn't want to wait the whole night in the haunted houses. Yeah, so the haunted houses have about an hour and a half to 2 hour wait for each of them. I'd recommend getting, I mean, if you want to spend the money, it's $80 for the Fright Lane Pass, which you get to skip the line. If you're going to come to it, you might as well spend the money so you can actually do everything. Same thing if you're going to hit the rides on these weekends. All the rides were at least an hour and a half to 2 hour waits. So there you spend another $80 for the Fast Lane Pass. So if you're coming for this, you might as well buy those passes. Plan on spending a lot of money. Otherwise, you're just going to waste your day away waiting for rides. We rode, I think, 5 roller coasters today. We did take a 3 hour break, but you just spending and trying to get the coasters in and doing the haunted houses. You need those Fast Pass, Fright Lane and the Fast Lane passes to be able to make the most out of your day here. So I'll see you next time from Cedar Point. Just a follow-up for our trip to Cedar Point for Halloweekends. I know I signed off from there. We'd only hit 2 haunted houses. The park was extremely packed on Saturday. Long lines for everything. So we couldn't fit everything in. We only planned on staying one night. We stayed at the Breakers right there at Cedar Point. We're actually leaving Sunday morning at 11 o'clock. We're driving out of the park, going back past the roller coasters, and just had a discussion between the 6 of us, and we're like, let's just buy a ticket and stay and do another day. So we turned the car around, went and bought our tickets, and went back in the park. And we went up to the gate to buy the tickets, and it's like $70 to buy them, $77 if we buy them at the gate. So we just went on our phones and purchased them for $44 and then went in. And on Sunday, the park was only open from 11 to 8, so that's why originally we weren't going to do it, but after not getting many rides in or haunted houses on Saturday, we decided let's just do it on Sunday. And it was definitely a good idea because the park was dead. I mean, compared to Saturday, hardly anyone there. The food lines, no lines for food. The rides, I mean, Steel Vengeance still had a 90-minute wait, but most of the rides, 15 minutes, if not walk on. We were able to hit all the haunted houses. So again, the park is only open from 11 to 8 on Sunday, so they don't have the scare zones going. Because on Saturday, the haunted houses don't open till 6 o'clock and go from 6 to 12. And then the scare zones go from 8 to 12. So on Sunday, since the park closes at 8, there are no outdoor mazes, no Cornstalkers, no Blood on the Bayou, no Cutthroat Cove, Harvest of Fear, Trail of the Forsaken, and Tombstone Territory are all closed. I mean, you can still walk through them. Well, the scare zones, you can't go through Blood on the Bayou or Cutthroat Cove because those are separate trails. But so those aren't open. Same thing with Cornstalkers. You can't walk through that area. Since the park closes at 8, those areas are closed. You know, there's no scares going on there. But the haunted houses they open up at 3 on Sunday, go from 3 to 8. So we were able to get in all the other 4 haunted houses that we weren't able to get in on Saturday. So by going back on Sunday, we were able to do all the haunted houses. Deprivation, Fairground Freak Show, the Erie Estates, Hexed Lights Out, Slaughterhouse, and Zombie High School. So we're able to get all of them in. We did Hexed and Slaughterhouse on Saturday, so we didn't do those again on Sunday, but we were able to hit the other 4. And I'm going to give you my list, give you a little description of them, and which ones I liked and which ones I didn't. And honestly, they were all good. We all, in our group of 6 of us, had different ones we liked and which ones we didn't. And it was based on which ones we got scared in. You know, some of them I was leading the pack, and nobody was jumping out at me, so I wasn't getting any scares. So those ones were like, I didn't really like it. Well, the rest of my group behind me were like, oh, that's the greatest one, because I got scared a lot in it. So basically, my decision on which ones I liked and which ones I didn't is just on whether or not I got scared in it. But as far as theming goes, I really like the theming in all of them. I'd been to Cedar Point's Halloweekends in the past, a long time ago, and they were pretty cheesy. They didn't do a lot of theming in these haunted houses. I think they were all pretty good this year. I mean, the theming is really good. And we did get scared in quite a few of them, and a few of them not so much. So here's my list of the haunted houses. If you don't want to know anything about them, then maybe you want to skip ahead, because I'm going to give a few details away. Not too much, but give you my list of which ones I liked and which ones I didn't. So probably my least favorite ones would be Slaughterhouse and Fairground Freak Show. Those ones are pretty well lit. You see where you're going in there. You can see all the characters and the actors in there, and you pretty much know. You know, they're just kind of standing there, and then as you walk by them, they jump out at you. A few jump out that you don't see, but those 2, I mean, well themed. Not, the theming in there was really good, and others in my group were getting scared. To me, those weren't the best ones. Again, maybe it was just because they weren't getting me scared too much. They weren't jumping out at me. They were getting the rest of the group. But, again, good haunted houses. I'm sure there's other people going through them who just loved them because maybe they got scared a lot. I just wasn't getting the scares. They were letting me walk past them before they were getting other people. So that's why I put those 2 on the bottom for me. The next one, I think, would be Erie Estates. Now, this was the favorite among a few in my group because they were getting scares all the time. I was leading the pack. I wasn't getting any. I got a few. I mean, there was a few good scares in there, and it's a well themed. It's not as well lit as Slaughterhouse and the Freak Show, so it's a little dimmer, which is good. I just felt like maybe because we went in at, I think it was 4 o'clock. We went in there in the afternoon. Maybe some of the characters in there were on break, having lunch break, because it seemed like there was quite a few rooms we went through. We'd go through 2 or 3 rooms in a row, and there was nobody jumping out at us. So I was like, it just didn't seem like there was that many actors in there getting us. Now, there were some really good scares in there, and like I said, some of them in my group thought that was the best house. They liked this house the best, because I think they were jumping out at them and letting me pass by. good house. For me, not the top, because again, I wasn't getting that scared in it. Next on the list would be Hexed. Hexed is good. Wasn't great, but it was pretty good. I mean, it's hex lights out, so it's dark in there. Not super duper dark, because they give you these little tiny little flashlights with just a little tiny light on it. Everybody in your group gets it, so everybody basically have to walk around and light up the floor to see where you're going. And it was neat. We're getting some scares, but not, the problem with that is with the scares when it's that dark, you don't see them, you just hear them, jump out at you. So the scares weren't that big, as just trying to find your way through there. There was a few good ones where you come around a hallway and I'd light up the floor and I could just see these feet running at me. So it was neat. We did get some good scares in there. Again, not my top, but it was a good house. The top two houses I'm gonna put is Zombie High School and Deprivation. I'm gonna put these at a tie because they're completely different style houses, but they were both, I mean, pretty scary for different reasons. Zombie High School, I'm going to talk about first, right at the very front of the park. Some of my group weren't thrilled about walking all the way up there. Like, oh, it doesn't sound good, Zombie High School. That's not going to be any fun. The theming in it, probably not the greatest compared to some of the other houses, but as far as the scares go, I mean, it was better than any of them. I mean, and this was a walk-on. I mean, there was no line for it. On Sunday, we were able to walk right in there, and maybe that's why we got so many scares, because these actors didn't have a lot to do, and they're like, ooh, here come some people. I mean, it was just non-stop. There were so many actors in this house. They got me 5-6 times, which was great. It was a good house. I mean, after we got out of that house, all of us were like, wow, that was a good one. They scared every one of us in our group multiple times. So that's why I'm putting that one up there at the top. Again, theming and all that is great, but you need to scare me when I'm in the house. And that one, they got me good several times. The other one up there I'm going to tie with that is Deprivation, for a completely different reason. There were a few scares. I mean, there are not many actors in this one, because you're not going to see them, and you don't need them. You don't need any actors in this one. The house itself is scary enough as it is. You don't need any actors in there. They did jump out and boo, but the reason Deprivation is so good is because it is black, pitch black. You cannot see a thing in this house. You walk in, you literally have to feel your way around to try to find yourself. I was leading the group. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see my hand if it was, an inch in front of my face. It's so dark in there. You have to feel the walls. Oh, there's no wall here. This is where we go. You have to lead yourself around with your hands. There's, things hanging from the ceilings, things on the walls. You don't know what they are. There's one point, and you're feeling yourself for the walls. You have to go through this tight corridor with these, I don't know what canvas, not canvas, maybe they're like these nylon puffy, the walls are like a big bag, like a nylon with air in it, so you have to like squeeze your way through it. I had to feel all the walls, and I feel all this puffy nylon bag air. Oh, there's a crack between it. I gotta squeeze through there, so the whole group has to go through there. And at one point, I'm not going to mention any names, someone in the group started crying and was yelling because they didn't know what this was. Do we go through this? They were lost, because if the person you're following gets too far in front, you have no idea where they're at. So everyone had to hold on to each other. So there was some crying at that point. There's another point where they have the same sort of device, but it's coming from the ceiling. So you have to keep getting lower and lower and almost crawl through a section. So that's why I think that house was the best. There were a few actors in there trying to scare you, but again, you couldn't see them. You didn't need anything. Just the fact that this house was completely pitch black and you had to feel your way through it made it scary enough as it was. So all in all, Halloweekends was great. If you're going on a Saturday, I think you have to, I hate to have to pay that extra. I think it's like $79 for a Fright Lane pass to skip the lines, but man, you almost need to, because those lines were so long and you're just wasting so much time. You don't have that many hours to get everything in. I hate giving the park extra money. I've already paid so much money for my ticket. Now I have to pay more to skip a line. But if you're gonna go, you almost need to do it. That way you can hit all the mazes and the haunted houses, and you just get to, you know, save your time of waiting in line for those. Again, if you're not gonna get that, hit those trails. You know, Blood on the Bayou, Cutthroat Cove. Hit those ones. We missed Cornstalkers. I mean, that had a really long line. I don't know how fast the line was going. We just walked by and we're like, no, we're not gonna stand there and wait for that. We didn't have the time. But I mean, like Blood on the Bayou and Cutthroat Cove, there was enough scares in there. I mean, it's just a continuous line. There's no wait for it. So with that said, Cedar Point Halloweekends was a good time. If you don't want to spend the money on that $70 Fright Lane pass, go ahead and just hit a couple of the haunted houses that you want to see. Pick your favorites. Hit those non-wait zones, the Cutthroat Cove, the Blood on the Bayou. You'll have plenty of scares in there. You'll have a good time. Lots of great rides at Cedar Point. Lots of good food. You'll have a good time. And with that said, we will see you next time.